Hi there. I'm glad to welcome you to my channel, World of Stories. I have a lot of interesting life stories that I want to share with you. Enjoy listening.
Lisa didn't like being late for grand events like college parties. But at the last moment, just as she was about to dash out the door, her mother stopped her. Ms. Gloria considered it her sacred duty to have a conversation with her daughter before every outing. This obligatory ritual consisted of several pieces of advice that Lisa was expected to listen to attentively and then internalize. With a mentor-like tone, Ms. Gloria declared, "Where are you rushing off to?" Lisa thought with resignation. Well, here it goes. The educational session is about to begin. But out loud, she said, "Mommy, I warned you 2 days ago that today we have a themed evening in honor of Valentine's Day. There will be a disco, a concert program, and other enjoyable things." She reached for the doorknob, but her mother stopped her with a shout. "Wait. I understand everything, except one thing. Why are you dressed as if you're going not to a cultural event, but to a tavern? How many times have I asked you not to wear that skirt?" "Mom. Everyone is wearing skirts like this today. You also wore what was considered fashionable in your time." Ms. Gloria retorted sharply. "Go change. The suit we gave you with your dad will be more appropriate. And about fashion, let me tell you one thing. We never wore such trashiness. You shouldn't put on something that doesn't suit you. Such a skirt as the one you're wearing now might be pulled off by a tall girl with perfectly straight legs, but in your case, it's not all that rosy." Her mother's assessing gaze slid over her daughter's figure, and then she casually removed the light pink half-coat from Lisa's shoulders. "Go, change, and I'll wait." Lisa struggled to hold back tears of despair, but arguing with her mother was futile. What hurt her the most was that Ms. Gloria had so brazenly pointed out her flaw. It was true that Lisa's knees turned slightly inward, but this imperfection was only noticeable upon close inspection. Under her breath, Lisa murmured so that her mother could hear her remark. "Any mother supports her child, while you always try to belittle me." Ms. Gloria adopted a more conciliatory tone. "Don't grumble. You'll thank me later for lessons in good taste. You're already 18, and it's time to determine a style that best suits your inner self. After all, that's the secret to a harmonious image of any self-respecting woman." Ms. Gloria continued to elaborate on this pertinent topic for a while Lisa in her room attempted to put on the outfit over the clothing that annoyed her mother so much. Lisa had to use this disguise trick often because clashes like this with her mother happened regularly. The operation went well, and just to be safe, she adjusted her hairstyle in front of the mirror. "Otherwise, she might even pick on my hair." Lisa dashed into the hallway and froze under her mother's scrutinizing gaze. But this time, Ms. Gloria was satisfied with her appearance. "Now that's an entirely different story. Couldn't you have dressed like this from the beginning? The suit looks good on you. Instead of dressing up in who knows what. Hurry, or you'll be late for your event." Knowing her mother's temperament, Lisa cleverly stashed a pair of stunning shoes in a bag. Ms. Gloria had no idea that her daughter possessed fashionable footwear. Lisa had acquired this gem with the money her grandfather had given her for her 18th birthday. At the thought of Mr. Tim, her heart warmed, but there was no time to get lost in sentimental moments. Slipping on the coat, Lisa finally left the apartment without hindrance. She immediately shifted into fourth gear as she left the entrance and sped towards the administrative building of the medical college where she studied. However, icy patches on the road impeded her speedy progress, and she nearly slipped twice. Despite her swift mode of transportation, she was running late for the start of the event. The celebration was already in full swing, and she hurriedly swapped her boots for the fashionable shoes and rushed upstairs where the youth was reveling. Loud music blared, and flashing lights prevented her from focusing on any one thing. Lisa stood by the entrance for a long while, trying to spot a familiar face among the dancers. Suddenly, someone took her by the arm and led her to the center of the hall. Lisa looked up and saw Max's smiling face. "Hey! Where have you been? I waited for you at the entrance for about half an hour, then I thought you wouldn't come." The girl shouted just as loudly as her friend. My mom held me up. She's worse than any supervisor. And why were you waiting for me? I don't remember you asking me out. Max just nodded, and Lisa couldn't tell if he was agreeing with her or if his rhythmic movements were complementing the music in the background. All pretty girls have memory problems. When we bumped into each other in the cafeteria yesterday, I told you I wanted to go out with you. Lisa couldn't recall that incident and remained silent. She attempted to catch the rhythm of the lively dance, but her partner's gaze was distracting her. Max moved gracefully while shamelessly admiring the girl. Yet, even that wasn't enough for him, and after a few minutes of contemplating his partner, he roughly pulled her closer and whispered passionately in her ear. Listen. You look so great in that Mary Poppins-style outfit. You're such a sweetheart in it, and I'm just blown away. Only now did Lisa realize that she hadn't had a chance to change out of the costume that concealed another attire underneath. She didn't even want to imagine how Max would react to the revealing outfit. A thought flashed through her mind. Mom was right about thinking before putting on such a revealing outfit. The girl attempted to slip away from her overly persistent partner several times, but Max wouldn't let go of her hand. One popular track was followed by another, and she had to keep dancing, but the lewd compliments from her partner bothered her the most. He kept whispering things in her ear that made her blush. Yet, the young man perceived this as a sign of the girl's readiness for further intimacy. When the DJ announced a short break, Max gazed deeply into his partner's eyes, and with a bold grin, he asked, Lisa, how would you feel about continuing the evening somewhere more secluded? After all, today is Valentine's Day. Without waiting for a positive response, Max put his arm around her waist and attempted to kiss her, but Lisa quickly pulled away. Max. You're wasting your eloquence on me in vain. While there's time, find another girl. I'm sure there are those who would gladly accept your proposal. The young man didn't want to admit defeat and asked quite loudly. Why are you pretending? Acting all innocent when deep down, you're probably thinking about how to hook up with a guy like me. Max. You have too high an opinion of yourself, and besides, I'm not into such audacious types. As the saying goes in student circles, this was an oblong of the highest order. A quiet whisper escalated into a loud argument, drawing attention to the disputing couple. Lisa wanted to quietly leave, but Max, feeling rejected by her refusal, wouldn't let go. Another minute, and the mild verbal exchange could have turned into a conflict, but their situation was saved by Jessica's timely appearance. Lisa's friend possessed a unique ability to assess a situation at a glance. Now, she activated her intuition and realized that without her intervention, the situation wouldn't resolve peacefully. Jessica grabbed Lisa's hand. There you are. I've been looking for you for a whole hour. Everyone has gathered over there, let's go quickly. Jessica dragged her friend to the other end of the hall, while their classmates greeted Lisa from afar with joyful shouts. The unpleasant feeling from her interaction with Max quickly faded, and throughout the evening, she didn't look in the direction where her rejected admirer remained. Within the circle of her friends, she felt completely safe, and this environment was made even more pleasant by the fact that Brandon was just one step away from her. Lisa liked this tall guy with an unremarkable appearance. Brandon was studying to be a dental technician, but he often dropped by. Many believed that these visits were connected to Amelie, who was considered the most beautiful girl in their group. Lisa was also sure of this version and tried to come to terms with the idea that the guy she liked had chosen another girl. She even attempted to find the acknowledged beauty among the familiar faces, but Amelie was nowhere to be seen. Jessica noticed her friend's confusion and informed her in a whisper about the recent events. If you're trying to find Amelie, you're wasting your effort. Our queen scorned the student party and left with some rich guy in a cool car at the beginning of the event. So, make use of the opportunity. Lisa scolded her friend in a hushed tone as well. Jessica. I beg you, no insinuations. You know perfectly well that I'm not the kind to act like a hyena. Well, if I were in your shoes, I'd forget about my principles. Brandon is a good guy. Unlike his little brother. Who are you referring to? The scoundrel who was bothering you and whom I saved you from 5 minutes ago. I didn't even know that Max is Brandon's brother. I found out recently myself. They're not biological brothers, but cousins, and as far as I know, they don't get along very well. This news didn't hold much significance for Lisa. She never supported the habit of some friends to discuss other people's family problems. She had enough to deal with in her own family nest. The clashes with her mother alone drained her energy and nerves. Taking care of Mr. Tim, her grandfather, also fell within Lisa's duties. However, looking after Mr. Tim was more of a pleasure than a burden. In the company of her peers, she didn't want to dwell on anything sad, and the rest of the evening passed cheerfully and interestingly. When the event ended, the students spilled out onto the street, making noise and singing songs accompanied by a guitar. For about an hour, they wandered through the city center, which was gradually falling asleep, belting out popular love songs. Then, little by little, everyone started to disperse. Brandon offered to escort Lisa. I don't have your exact address. But they say that the area where you live isn't exactly safe. So, I really ought to walk you home. Of course, if you're okay with that. Brandon looked at Lisa, and his eyes twinkled with mischief. The girl also smiled. It's the first time I'm hearing that I live in a terrifying place. I'm starting to get scared. I gladly accept your offer. They strolled leisurely through the snow-covered streets and chatted about trivial matters. Unexpectedly, Max blocked their path. With his typical audacity, he started to reproach his brother. Well, look who it is. And here I was wondering who dared to take away my girl. Turns out it's you, little brother. Brandon interrupted him. Max, stop putting on a show. You have a bad habit of causing a scene in crowded places. You're not much better, interrupting my way. All right, I won't spoil your evening. We'll talk about good manners some other time. Max made a sharp turn, but slipped and nearly fell. Everyone's against me today. Unlucky day. He glanced at his brother again, then at Lisa, and whistling a familiar tune, he disappeared down an alley. Brandon felt awkward in front of the girl because of his brother's uncouth behavior. Don't pay attention. Max wasn't prone to such outbursts before. We were even close friends for a while, and then he changed as if someone had switched him. That's why I try to stay away from him. Our mothers rarely communicate now too. There was once a big falling out between them. If they do meet nowadays, it's only at the funerals of close relatives. Lisa understood that her comments were unnecessary in this situation and remained silent for the rest of the way. They warmly said goodbye at the entrance to her home, not making any plans for future meetings. However, the next day, during a long break, Brandon appeared in their dormitory building. Lisa noticed him as she was rushing to a lecture. She nodded in greeting and was about to continue on her way, but Brandon asked her to stay. Lisa. We didn't part on the best terms yesterday. Maybe we can go for a walk today or catch a movie? Her heart raced, but she tried not to show her nervousness. Sure, we can go. I just need to make sure to check in at home. Brandon smiled. Strict monitoring? Kind of. My mom tracks my every move, and she thinks it's the right thing to do. All right. We'll take your mom's interests into account. Let's meet at around 6 p.m. Deal. With her head held high, Amelie walked by, not even sparing a glance for the guy who had been pursuing her with his gaze for so long. But Lisa ran into her at the classroom door. Amelie incinerated her rival with a look and remarked with a sneer. I didn't even get a chance to drop him, and you've already picked him up. I guess I don't mind. You can have him. Guys like Brandon aren't my type. Lisa wasn't even offended by her classmate because she knew that Amelie's mind was focused solely on clothes and entertainment. Jessica, as always, saw and heard everything. She looked at Amelie disapprovingly and said very loudly. Certain individuals have accidentally found their way into our ranks, individuals who are accustomed to categorizing people, and I believe that such specialists should not be allowed near the sick. But Amelie was thick-skinned, and the remark had no effect on her. Not a single muscle twitched on the doll-like face of the girl, and only her cold blue eyes challenged Jessica. If this is your attempt to get under my skin, you're wasting your effort. Because I'm not easily affected by these morality lessons. Yes, I'm not going to run around like a fool or act like a stooge. I'll leave that pleasure to someone like you, Jessica. You have a good name, but the rest doesn't match it. After a brief pause that Amelie used for emphasis, she shared her plans with the same haughtiness. Girls. You're so primitive. I genuinely sympathize with you. Because unlike you, I'll be working in a place you can't even dream of. Amelie cast another glance at Jessica. Then she looked at Lisa. Keep in mind. At any moment, I can whistle, and Brandon will obediently come running after me like a dog. The rival wanted to sting Lisa more deeply, but she pretended not to hear her last words. All of the girls' thoughts were focused on her upcoming date with Brandon, and she didn't even grasp the essence of the lecture topic. With each passing day, the scent of spring became more palpable in the air. This incomparable aroma stirred the imagination and made young hearts beat faster. The final-year female students of the medical college were not immune to these emotions either. Most of the girls in the lectures had absent-minded expressions, and the nursing instructor was trying to reach their consciousness. Ms. Miranda monotonously spoke about the important role of mid-level medical personnel. A nurse was and remains the doctor's main assistant. And you, my dear students, must understand the responsibility that will soon fall on your shoulders. Unfortunately, this understanding sometimes comes too late. For instance, right now you're sitting here, but your minds are somewhere far away. And then, when new recruits start working, comical situations arise. When one young specialist knows how to administer an enema, but another one knows where to administer it, and it's not a joke at all. Ms. Miranda knew how to capture the audience's attention, and after her words, those who were daydreaming were brought back to reality. Laughter rippled through the room, and one of the girls even dared to add another story of the blunders made by young medical professionals. Ms. Miranda, that joke is outdated. If you want a really fresh incident, one of your students recently astonished the entire medical community. It happened during her internship at one of our city clinics. The floor nurse asked her to collect urine samples in one of the ward rooms. Without much thought, the intern carried a basin with her and headed to the designated room. The thing is, all the men in the ward were being examined, and the girl decided to collect biological fluid from all of them in bulk. Roars of laughter filled the room, and Amelie stormed out of the classroom, shouting, "You're all idiots. I hate all of you. Laugh while you can." Ms. Miranda called for calmness among the students. Girls. Each of you could find yourself in an embarrassing situation, so don't use your colleagues' mistakes as a source of ridicule. Perhaps the floor nurse didn't explain the task properly to the intern. A student who had just shared the story about Amelie's mishap interrupted the instructor. Ms. Miranda, don't defend Amelie in vain. The reason for her frequent blunders and failures is that she doesn't consider it necessary to occasionally glance at textbooks. And then specialists like her end up in hospitals, treating patients. I believe that the issue of low qualification among new professionals is very relevant today. By the way, it ties in nicely with the theme of your lecture. I don't want to belittle anyone present here. It's just frustrating, so to speak, for the honor of the uniform. Ms. Miranda had to admit the student's point, as she dared to bring up the mishap involving Amelie for public discussion. In a hushed voice, Jessica said to Lisa, "I can see what's going to happen in our college tomorrow." Lisa was intrigued by her friend's statement. "You think Amelie's going to spill the beans about Ms. Miranda?" "I don't just think so, I'm sure of it." "Do you know who Amelie's dad is?" "No. And honestly, I'm not interested in knowing." "You're missing out. Her mother works at the Ministry of Education, and her father oversees the entire pharmacology of the city." Wow. Such intelligent people and such an airhead daughter. That's indeed a sad fact. But I genuinely feel sorry for our Ms. Miranda. She's really one of the best instructors. The girls continued chatting about unrelated topics for a while, as their minds were resisting processing such serious material as the basics of nursing. As soon as the bell rang, the future medical professionals swarmed out of the classroom. Jessica nudged her friend in the side and gestured with her hand towards the hallway. Look. Amelie's already pouring out her frustration to the first sweater she found. Lisa turned towards where her friend was intently gazing and saw Max comforting Amelie. This touching scene didn't make much of an impression on her, but Jessica said with a smirk. Well. Are you aware that they're dating? No. And frankly, I'm not interested. Good. Why peek into other people's windows when you've got your own light shining bright? Amidst this hubbub, my dear friend, I almost forgot that you've got a romance brewing with Brandon. Honestly, I envy you. Jessica playfully winked at her friend. As if you don't have a suitor of your own? Don't play coy. Besides, I think it's a bit premature for us to be thinking about serious relationships. Personally, I plan to continue my education in the near future. I dream of becoming a doctor. I'm really into endocrinology. Jessica theatrically rolled her eyes. Well, no. I've had enough of studying. These 2 years have already drained my brain. Right now, my main concern is completing my internship and passing the state exams. Jessica paused mid-sentence and looked significantly at her friend. Speaking of birds, do you know where they'll be sending us to fulfill our required hours? Lisa shrugged, indicating her indifference to the question. Well, I'm not really bothered either way. But word on the street is that they'll be assigning our class to the emergency hospital and city clinics. Nothing unusual. They do that every year. It wouldn't be bad if that's the case. But I've heard that some of the guys might get sent to rural areas. Relax. That perspective is mainly for paramedics and dentists. By the way, Brandon got assigned to a district hospital too. Jessica burst into laughter. Hilarious. And what's a fledgling dental technician going to do there? Practice making dentures for the elderly? You're laughing in vain. You've got the wrong idea about rural folks. Just so you know, my grandpa lives in such a village, and he happily uses our medical services. Last year, he got himself new teeth. Sure, he spent all his savings on it, but he's satisfied, and his teeth look as real as ever. Now my grandpa enjoys eating everything, whereas before, he was limited to just soups and porridge. Lucky you. You've got someone to visit. All my relatives are concentrated in one place. It's not even interesting. Since all the hot topics had been exhausted, the girls headed to the locker room. Jessica was tidying up her hair in front of the mirror when she suddenly remembered the stunning news. Lisa. We got so chatty, and the most important thing slipped my mind. Basically, if you're not aware, I'm authorized to tell you that they're planning to celebrate the end of our studies. You mean the graduation? But that's still far away. Her friend deftly applied raspberry-scented gloss to her plump lips. No, I'm not talking about that. People want to gather before we start our internships. After all, for us, the academic process is essentially over, and I'm even a bit sad about it. What's your take on this idea? Positively. Well, depending on where and when to gather? Somewhere tomorrow or the day after, we'll know for sure, but we've got a nearby recreation center in mind. It's not far from the city. Kelly's dad manages it. When's the outing? In early May. It lines up really well, given the festive weekends around that time. So, we're looking forward to 3 days of an epic get-together, and Kelly's dad promised to arrange everything at a minimal cost. Lisa's mood immediately dampened, and Jessica noticed the shift in her gaze. Why the gloomy face, my friend? Money troubles? Money isn't the issue. It's something else. If it were just for 1 day, it might be manageable, but 3 days is a problem. You know my mom, after all. Lisa. You're not a little girl anymore. Have a serious talk with your parents. Don't let them suffocate you. I'll try, of course. But I can't guarantee they'll let me go. Handle it yourself then. Lisa felt like Jessica was upset with her. She scolded herself for her indecisiveness and inability to stand up for her opinions, but she couldn't bring herself to go against her parents either. It wasn't just because she was still dependent on them. Traditional upbringing played a role too. Lisa had grown up used to her father and mother making all the important decisions in her life. Lisa wasn't mistaken in her assumptions. The moment she hinted about the possible trip with her classmates, Ms. Gloria cut her off immediately. "Don't even think about it. You're not going anywhere." Lisa whimpered. "Mom. Why not? I'm already an adult and have the right." "I don't deny that. You have the right to do as you please. But, my dear, you don't know how unpredictable life can be. I have nothing against spending time with friends, as long as adults are supervising such events. Will there be any teachers with you?" "I don't know." Jessica didn't mention anything, but one of the girls' fathers works at the recreation center. One adult won't be able to handle a whole group of unruly youngsters. The girl's father, Mr. Steve, didn't catch the beginning of the conversation but picked up on the main point and decided to intervene. In a joking tone, he addressed his wife. "Gloria. Maybe it's time to let our daughter go? Sometimes I feel like you're holding Lisa on a short leash, like a puppy." This comparison offended his wife. "Steve. Don't you think that comparisons like these hurt our daughter even more? Imagine what they'll be up to at this recreation center for 3 days? Gloria. Come on, they're fully grown adults. Practically professionals, and besides, we won't be able to babysit our daughter forever. Such control could lead to dire consequences." Lisa already knew that her mother would emerge victorious in this argument. Her father always yielded to her mother, doing so for the sake of peace in the family. So, she didn't wait for the argument to finish and went to bed. Truth be told, she wasn't even that excited about going to an unfamiliar place with a bunch of classmates. If Brandon had been in the group, then maybe she'd be more enthusiastic. The young woman's conscience was clear. She had put in maximum effort to convince Ms. Gloria. But the next morning, an unexpected miracle happened. Her mother came to her room with a mysterious expression on her face and said, "Your father and I talked yesterday and decided that you can go with your friends. There's no need to isolate yourself from your peers." The girl rushed to her mother and exclaimed with joy, "Mommy. You're the best parents in the world. I promise to behave properly." Lisa immediately called Jessica to share the good news. She spent the entire day in high spirits, but late in the evening, her joy was abruptly shattered, just as it had arrived. Unexpectedly, Mr. Tim, Lisa's grandfather, called her. Ms. Gloria spoke with her father for a few minutes and then called her daughter. "Lisa. Come here, your grandfather wants to talk to you personally." Before the girl could even take the phone from her mother, she heard her grandfather's discontented grumbling. "Lisa. Have you completely forgotten your grandpa? I'm here all alone within these 4 walls, not knowing what to do with myself." The girl attempted to explain. "Well, I was here 2 weeks ago." "So what? Back then, I was healthy, and now, it's either high blood pressure or some fever bothering me. You're a medic, after all. You could have diagnosed me properly if you had come." "Okay, Grandpa. I'll come as soon as I can. And you should visit the clinic tomorrow. They have good doctors there." Mr. Tim shouted into the phone. "I don't need your advice. I know where to go. Tell me, granddaughter, why should I wander around hospitals when we have our own family doctor?" "Grandpa, well, I'm not a doctor yet. I'm just a nurse, and I haven't even received my diploma. It doesn't matter to me. Some nurses are smarter than doctors. When I was in the hospital, there were such knowledgeable young ladies working there." Lisa was surprised by her grandfather's insistence. He had never used such methods of persuasion before. She listened to his words while her mother observed her. Finally, Lisa hung up the phone. Ms. Gloria asked with concern, "Did Grandpa give you a hard time?" "Yes, Mom. I never expected that from him. Nothing surprising. People change with age, and our grandpa is already 74 years old. It's a very respectable age. What did you decide? Mom. Why the extra questions? Of course, I'll go to Grandpa. Honestly, he's really struggling with loneliness there. He brought it upon himself. If it weren't for his bad temper. I've suggested so many times that he move to the city with us, but he doesn't even want to hear about it. Mom. Am I missing something? Tell me. Well, when you visit Grandpa, let him tell you about his secrets. Believe me, he has so many that you could write a whole book about them. Until that day, Lisa had never thought that her relatives might have their own secrets. Her parents had told her a lot about their past. Grandpa also liked to share memories, but all those stories reflected only the parts of their lives they were proud of. After her mother's casual remark, Lisa realized that there was another side they didn't want to remember. Mr. Tim had a strong character, like any person accustomed to a simple life. After the premature death of his beloved wife, Ms. Martha, he continued to live in solitude. At first, he was content with it, but as the years went by, living as a lonely wolf became increasingly difficult and melancholic. Most of all, he was troubled by the thought that one day he might fall asleep and not wake up in his two-room apartment. He seemed to use this possible scenario as a reproach to his daughters. You all have scattered to different cities, and here I am, all alone, languishing. God forbid, I die, and no one will know. I'll lie here for a year until the neighbors notice something's wrong. His eldest daughter Obi reacted sharply to such statements. Father, we've offered you so many times to move. Gloria has good conditions, and my husband and I have a huge house, and we're living alone now because the children have moved out. So your complaints are baseless. The old man wasn't going to back down and presented his main argument. I don't want to live in your penthouses. I'm used to my apartment. Obi was shocked by the revelation. So, Dad, are you suggesting that one of us should leave everything and come live with you? Yes, precisely that format suits me, and I don't see any obstacles to making it happen. Now Gloria had to intervene. Dad. And what about the fact that my sister and I have husbands and children? A normal husband should empathize and understand the difficulties. I could still understand if you were newlyweds. But you've been living together for over 20 years. Obi is already a grandmother herself, she could have moved to her father's place. And give your husbands a break too. Trying to convince the old man that such a lifestyle was unnatural was pointless. Mr. Tim had never really considered his daughter's opinions, and as he grew older, he began to ignore their problems altogether. He treated his grandchildren in much the same way. Obi had 2 sons, but the grandpa wasn't particularly impressed with them. At every opportunity, he reproached them for not heeding his recommendations in their youth. When Sam and Adam were little, the grandpa dreamed that his grandsons, like him, would work the land. An agronomist is a highly respected profession. Such specialists are always in demand. Sam, such a job would suit you very well. And you, Adam, you have a knack for gadgets. I've watched you, you could have been a good mechanic. But the boys disobeyed the Mr. Tim's wishes. Sam became a lawyer, and Adam chose to be a design engineer. Mr. Tim was deeply troubled by this. His daughters heard many unpleasant remarks on this topic from him. For about 5 years, the storm raging in the old man's heart didn't subside. The grandchildren repeatedly tried to build a relationship with their grandfather, but he wasn't willing to make amends. Although he accepted gifts from them. After losing trust in his male line heirs, the center of the old man's affections shifted towards Lisa. And Lisa's strong desire to become a nurse finally melted Mr. Tim's heart. After all, his late wife, Ms. Martha, had devoted her whole life to medicine as well. Well done, Lisa. If your grandmother were alive today, she would be very pleased. My Ms. Martha was the most respected person in our village. People came to her for help day and night, and she never turned anyone away. But she couldn't save herself, or am I to blame for her leaving me so soon? At this point, Mr. Tim usually became melancholic and sometimes even shed a tear. This time, too, the grandpa started with memories, but first he unleashed a series of reproaches. When Lisa knocked on the door, the old man began reprimanding her right from the threshold. "If I hadn't called, you wouldn't have come." "Fine. Nobody lives in the same skin. Someday, you'll also taste from the same cup I drink the bitterness of life from." Lisa knew that it was best to remain silent during Mr. Tim's introductory speech. She calmly took off her light coat and, ignoring the grandpa's complaints, headed for the kitchen. After checking the pots and pans on the stove, she asked, "Grandpa, what should I cook for you? Do you have groceries, or should I run to the store?" Mr. Tim immediately switched to a more pleasant topic. "Yes, Lisa. If it's not too much trouble, go to the store. Buy something of your choice. I haven't had real soup in a long time." "Why is that?" "If I remember correctly, Ms. Rachel from the social service took responsibility for you." The elderly man lowered his gaze. "Rachel doesn't come to me anymore. I sent her away." Lisa looked at her grandpa in astonishment. "Grandpa, of course, I have no right to lecture you, but this isn't right either. They assigned a woman from social services to help you. You drove her away. Then your friend's granddaughter looked after you, and you parted ways with her too. Now you've shown Rachel the door. How do you plan to live from now on? You can't be so difficult." Mr. Tim listened to his granddaughter, bowing his head low. "Scold me, Lisa. I can't control myself. I have such a cantankerous character, all because of this green melancholy. If only you would move in with me." The girl hugged her grandpa. "Grandpa, don't start. I might burst into tears myself now. But just imagine for a moment. What would I do here?" The man looked into his granddaughter's eyes with hope. "But your grandma worked here her whole life and never complained." Lisa didn't want to upset her grandpa with a sharp refusal and redirected the conversation to a more positive direction. "All right, Grandpa. Words are not enough. I'll go to the store, and then I'll make your favorite soup. We still have plenty of time ahead to have long conversations." The girl headed towards the narrow hallway, and the old man followed her. "Yes, granddaughter. I almost forgot. While you're at it, could you stop by the pharmacy and get me some joint cream? I can't get out of bed in the morning without it." Mr. Tim took out several fresh banknotes from the dresser. "Get yourself something delicious too. I saved some money just for your visit. Will you stay with me for a little while?" The old man looked at her almost with childlike hope, and Lisa understood that this question had weighed on him the most. She kissed her grandpa. "I've come to you for a whole week. Unless you kick me out earlier." A smile lit up Mr. Tim's face, and the girl thought to herself, how little a person needs to feel happy. After a hearty dinner, the old man brightened up completely. He sat in the kitchen and watched as his granddaughter tidied up. Unlike him, Lisa was dissatisfied. "Grandpa, in just 2 weeks you've managed to grow moss. It's really not that hard. At least dust occasionally. Forgive this old man. I've forgotten what I used to do. But what needs to be done, just tell me. Instead of scolding your grandpa, why don't you tell me about your young life?" The girl perfectly understood the old man's tactic but decided to pretend she hadn't noticed it. "Yes, everything is good with me. The practical training will start soon, and then I'll be getting my diploma, but I need to prepare for that." The old man impatiently waved his hand. "Work and education are all well and good, but tell me, how's your personal life? Are you dating someone or waiting for a prince?" "I stopped believing in princes a long time ago, Grandpa. But I do have a good friend. His name is Brandon, and he's also graduating from college this year. He's in a different field though. He's a dental technician." Mr. Tim clicked his tongue. "That's a very good profession. It's always a piece of bread with butter. Stick with that guy." "And what kind of family is Brandon from?" Lisa was taken aback. She had never been interested in her companion's lineage. "Grandpa, I didn't delve into those details. I just know that Brandon has a brother, a rather unpleasant character. He also studies at our college, but I try to avoid crossing paths with him." The old man suddenly perked up. "Why is that? Where did this antipathy come from?" Lisa blushed. She didn't want to tell the unpleasant story that happened at the February disco, but the old man guessed it himself. "He was bothering you." "Something like that, but I shut him down quickly. Max and Brandon are cousins. Jessica is my friend. She mentioned that their mothers don't get along. I don't know why, and it doesn't concern me." "Yes, granddaughter, it's not always lucky with relatives. You don't know, but I had a brother too." Mr. Tim let out a heavy sigh and fell into thought. From his strained expression, the girl understood that it wasn't a good idea to press him with questions. A thought crossed her mind: if he wants to, he'll tell on his own. But the old man, groaning and clutching his back, left the kitchen. "I'll lie down for a bit, granddaughter. My joints are really hurting. It looks like rain tomorrow. I'll go and put on the ointment you brought." Mr. Tim disappeared into the bedroom and didn't show up until late in the evening. Lisa decided to take advantage of the opportunity and tidy up the large room. She opened the balcony door, and the fresh air flooded the room. Trying not to make any noise, she dusted and organized the scattered items on the chairs and armchairs onto the shelves of the cabinet. She didn't even notice how it was getting dark outside and was about to close the balcony door when the displeased owner of the apartment appeared. "Lisa. Did you want me to die? You let in a draft. My whole body aches as it is." "Grandpa. Well, you were resting. You can break your legs in here. Don't exaggerate. You're making it sound like I'm a complete slob based on what you're saying. It's cold in here. Let's go to the kitchen. Put on the kettle, and I'll tell you about my brother. Honestly, I haven't been interested in his fate for a long time. I don't even know if he's alive or if he's already passed away. Probably the latter, since Alan is 5 years older than me, and he should be almost 80 now. If he's still alive, that is." Fragrant tea in beautiful cups steamed on the table, and Lisa, holding her breath, listened to the unusual love story that forever turned the two brothers into enemies. Tim and Al Ballin's parents were simple people. Mr. Ronald had gone through the entire war and had only been lightly wounded once. Returning home, he continued with his familiar work, toiling from dawn to dusk in the fields. At that time, there was a dire shortage of mechanics, so the machine operators repaired tractors themselves at night and then went to the fields in the morning. Mr. Ronald's wife worked on the farm, so the responsibility for the younger children fell on the older ones. But Alan liked this distribution of responsibilities, and he couldn't wait to finish school. True, the parents didn't object to the older son's desire to get an education. On the contrary, they boasted of their son's achievements in front of all their acquaintances and neighbors. "Our Alan will surely rise to become a manager. He's such a serious young man, unlike Tim." Listening to such speeches, the younger brother became infuriated. He wanted to prove to the whole world, and especially to his older brother, that he was just as good as him. This competitive process lasted for several years, but Alan was ultimately more successful. After graduating from college, he returned to their hometown and was immediately appointed as the deputy chairman of the collective farm. With his position, the young specialist openly boasted, trying to taunt his younger brother, who was working with their father in the fields for the harvest. Tim wasn't drafted into the army right away. It was precisely because there was a shortage of people who could handle machinery so easily. The consequences of the past war were also evident in the shortage of personnel. Only at 23 years old was he drafted for military service. Then he spent another 3 years mastering military affairs in the Baltic Fleet and returned home after his demobilization. During Tim's service, serious changes occurred in their hometown. A new 2-story club had been built, and you could now drive to the village on a smooth asphalt road. Changes also occurred within the family, which their mother immediately shared. "Our Alan is getting married. They only took you into service, and they sent us a nurse from the medical school. Her name is Martha. A good girl." At first, Tim didn't attach much importance to this news. He was eager to meet the girl who had seen him off and had been writing him letters for almost 3 years. But his mother looked at him with pity. "Tim. You shouldn't go see Andrea." Tim was surprised. "Mom. What are you saying? I've been waiting for this day for 3 whole years." The woman stubbornly repeated herself. "I'm telling you, don't go." Andrea got married and moved to the city. Apparently, she wanted to hide in shame. I didn't expect such deceit from her. She was like a daughter to me. She used to come to us almost every day, but then she stopped. For nearly half a year, Tim struggled with this personal tragedy. He became withdrawn and only spoke to his parents when necessary. But one day, the mechanic sent him to the city. "Mr. Tim, you urgently need to pick up spare parts for the machinery from the warehouse. So, I'm assigning you my car for this purpose, but you must understand that we count on you every day. Try to finish as quickly as possible." Tim was used to carrying out assigned tasks and immediately set off for the city. How surprised he was when he arrived at the very warehouse where he was supposed to pick up the parts he needed for repairs, and he met Andrea, the same Andrea who hadn't waited for him. An engagement ring shone on the young woman's finger, and it burned Tim's heart like fire. He stared into his former lover's eyes for a long time and then asked, "Why didn't you write to me? It would have been more honest. Instead, you got married in secret." Andrea unexpectedly burst into tears. "Forgive me, Tim. My hasty marriage was a necessity, I had no other way." "Well, you can at least tell me now. What happened? I'm not going to interfere in your family life, but I should at least know the reason for your betrayal." "Oh, Tim. It's better for you not to know anything. I still don't understand how it all happened myself." From Andrea's tangled narrative, often interrupted by sobbing, Tim understood that his older brother had hindered his personal happiness. When Tim left for the military, Alan courted Andrea for a long time. Their meetings were secretive, and no one knew that the elder brother had stolen the younger brother's fiancée. Andrea gave in to Alan when he proposed, but then the beautiful Martha appeared, and the suitor began to chase after her. Andrea was ready to accept her fiancé's infidelity, but to her horror, she realized that she was pregnant. Time was flying by relentlessly, and she had to take decisive action. One day, she confronted Alan in a secluded place to tell him that he was going to be a father, but he recoiled from her. "Andrea. Don't involve me in this matter. This can't be. We were together only twice. It could be anyone's child you're carrying." It was painful to hear such reproaches, and the distressed girl begged. "Alan. I haven't been with anyone else before you. You know that perfectly well. I'm pregnant with your child." But these pleas and tears didn't move him. He heartlessly threw at her. "Your tears won't help, Andrea. You know yourself that I can't marry you. Besides, I already have a fiancé. You probably heard that I'm dating Martha, our nurse, and we're getting married soon." Andrea stood frozen in place, while Alan left her life forever. For several weeks, she didn't leave her house, and her parents became worried about her health. She sought a way out of her situation but couldn't find a good solution. Andrea confessed to Tim that she had wanted to end her life. If it weren't for Patrick, a young man whom Tim knew well, she would have gone through with it. He persuaded her not to take that extreme step. "Patrick immediately proposed to me, and I agreed. Right after the wedding, we moved to the city." Tim was preoccupied with one very important question. "And where is the child?" Andrea burst into tears again. "I guess it's all my fault, or it's a divine punishment. The boy was stillborn." Throughout the return journey, Tim thought only about what a disappointment his own brother had turned out to be. In essence, he had ruined Andrea's life. Now this cheerful girl resembled more of a mummy. He still didn't know what he would do, but he was firmly convinced that he would find a way to get revenge on his brother. Apparently, fate was also on his side. Literally, the next day after the trip to the city, while repairing his tractor, Tim accidentally injured his hand. Blood gushed from the open wound, and the men took the guy to the clinic. At the sight of Tim's wound, he began to tremble, but the paramedic reassured him. "Hold on, dear. I'll treat your wound now, and then I'll stitch it up." Barely touching the needle, the guy lost consciousness. The medic had to bring him back to his senses. When he came to, the girl was surprised. Usually, men don't faint at the sight of blood, but you blacked out immediately. Tim felt embarrassed. "I'm sorry. I didn't expect this myself. When I served in the Navy, I've seen worse fears, but this is the first time it happened to me. It might be a reaction to severe bleeding. Do you feel dizzy? Nauseous? Honestly, I really don't feel well. Yes, I was quite nervous yesterday. According to the protocol, I should send you to the hospital." Tim objected. "No need. I'm tough. Tomorrow I'll be as fit as a fiddle." "All right. Let's see what tomorrow brings. But let's agree that you'll go home right now and lie down in bed." "Well, I can't. I have work." "There can be no talk of work until you're fully recovered. I'll write you a certificate, and now I'll call your brother. After all, Alan is your older brother, isn't he?" Martha kept her promise, and 10 minutes later, Alan rushed to the medical post. But instead of words of sympathy, a stream of insults poured onto Tim. The elder brother yelled at him without holding back any expressions. "Idiot. Fool. The Almighty gifted me with a brother like you. Admit it. Did you purposely orchestrate this to spite me? Now in every meeting, they'll be swaying me. Well, if it only concerned me. You've put our entire enterprise in jeopardy. Investigations will start now. They'll send a commission to determine that we're not adhering to safety protocols." Martha attempted to calm down the raging groom. "Alan. What are you saying? Something bad happened to your brother. And instead of showing sympathy, you're insulting him. Such misfortune could have happened to anyone, even to you." The elder brother declared in a commanding tone. "Martha. Stop covering up the foolishness and, in general, I think it's inappropriate to indulge in sentimentality here." As soon as the door closed behind Alan, the parents stormed into the medical post. The mother began wailing by her son's side, and Mr. Ronald offered help to Tim. "Lean on me, Tim. Let's go home. It's scary to look at you. You're as pale as a sheet." The paramedic accompanied them to the exit and cautioned, "Be sure to come for a dressing change tomorrow." Tim was on sick leave for almost 3 weeks. He visited for dressing changes every day and was amazed at Martha's skill in quickly and deftly performing the procedures. They had a lot in common and could chat about trivial matters for a long time. But one day, this idyllic atmosphere was disrupted by Alan. The older brother burst into the medical room during a routine procedure. With a solemn expression, he declared, "Just as I suspected. Caught you in the act. Sitting here, schmoozing." Martha didn't bother to listen to the reproaches. "Alan. Leave the medical room. You're disrupting my work." "Oh. Am I disturbing you already? Well then, Martha. I declare to you with all responsibility that I won't allow you to corrupt the population. Today itself, I will report your unworthy behavior to your superiors. What you're doing in the workplace." Tim's hand hadn't fully healed yet, but he didn't hesitate to stand up for the girl. "Alan. I don't care that you're the boss. If you don't leave right now, I'll knock you out." Perhaps it was the determination of the younger brother that brought Alan back to reality. He glared angrily at the girl first, then at Tim. "You'll still dance to my tune? I don't forgive those who humiliate me." Alan left. They sat in bewilderment for a while. Tim broke the silence first. "Martha. Don't worry. Those are just threats. I know my brother. He won't go beyond words. Alan is just trying to portray himself as tough, but in reality, he's very calculating and won't stick his neck out." Tim's predictions proved accurate. Alan limited himself to promises. The next day, he appeared at the medical post with apologies. Marta. Forgive me. I got carried away, said a bunch of awful things, it's all my brother's fault. He tormented me with his antics even in childhood. The girl didn't even turn around, but when the man tried to approach her, she firmly said, "Just as I suspected. Caught you in the act. Sitting here, schmoozing." Martha didn't bother to listen to the reproaches. "Alan. Leave the medical room. You're disrupting my work." "Oh. Am I disturbing you already? Well then, Martha. I declare to you with all responsibility that I won't allow you to corrupt the population. Today itself, I will report your unworthy behavior to your superiors. What you're doing in the workplace." Tim's hand hadn't fully healed yet, but he didn't hesitate to stand up for the girl. "Alan. I don't care that you're the boss. If you don't leave right now, I'll knock you out." Perhaps it was the determination of the younger brother that brought Alan back to reality. He glared angrily at the girl first, then at Tim. "You'll still dance to my tune? I don't forgive those who humiliate me." Alan left. They sat in bewilderment for a while. Tim broke the silence first. "Martha. Don't worry. Those are just threats. I know my brother. He won't go beyond words. Alan is just trying to portray himself as tough, but in reality, he's very calculating and won't stick his neck out." Tim's predictions proved accurate. Alan limited himself to promises. The next day, he appeared at the medical post with apologies. "Martha. Forgive me. I got carried away, said a bunch of awful things, it's all my brother's fault. He tormented me with his antics even in childhood." The girl didn't even turn around, but when the men tried to approach her, she firmly said, "Alan. Don't come near me. Between us, it's all over, and it's good that you showed your true nature before the wedding. You're not a good person, and I'm afraid of you." After that conversation, Grandpa seemed to slump all of a sudden. Lisa even got worried about his health. However, the next day, Mr. Tim was back to complaining about life, neighbors, and his daughter's inattention. So, Lisa decided it would be better not to bring him back into those memories. The beginning of the practice marked an unpleasant event. Jessica was sent to a regional hospital, and Lisa to a city clinic. But the uncomfortable situation was that they ended up at the same place as the detested Amelie. Max had already gotten accustomed to the medical facility and decided to give the girls a tour. He met them at the entrance, casting a smug glance at Lisa. "I want to advise you, young maidens, not to show your character here. The clinic has an established team, and the old-timers are reluctant to welcome newcomers. So, the main rule here is not to stand out." Amelie chimed in cheerfully. "Max, cut the crap. These problems are easily solved. You just need to find a good clearing, and everything will be tip-top. History doesn't record a single case of turning down freebies." Lisa was already stumped by her classmates' vocabulary, and she couldn't stay silent. "Amelie. If you're going to communicate with patients in your own language, you'll need an interpreter." Amelie, as usual, looked down on Lisa. "Oh, are you the smartest one here? Or did you decide to show off in front of Max? Probably can't stand that I'm dating him?" The girl responded calmly. "Neither one nor the other. I absolutely don't care about Max. Right now, I'm more concerned about the practice, and I know the kind of people who visit clinics. Mostly elderly, children, and women." Amelie started to twist her face. "Lady know-it-all. Personally, I can manage without your advice. And anyway, I don't plan to hang around here for a whole month. Dad promised to arrange for me to do the entire practice in his friend's clinic." Amelie and Max continued down the corridor, and Lisa decided to part ways with that company. The young man asked, "Lisa, why are you lagging behind? Come on, catch up." "Thanks. But I'd rather walk the floors on my own. It'll be calmer for everyone. Amelie, let's meet by the head's office." Lisa reached the end of the long corridor, and her desire to go up to the third floor completely vanished. She turned back and waited for the head to appear. Soon, the intern noticed a stout middle-aged man walking energetically down the corridor. He was smiling. "Oh, new addition. We've been waiting for you for a while. Our departments are critically short of specialists. Nurses have to work in emergency mode and cover 2, and sometimes even 3 departments." The head swung open the door to his office. "Come in and let's get acquainted." He reached out his hand to Lisa. "Mr. Nicholas." Lisa made a reciprocating gesture. "Lisa. They've sent me here, and another girl will come as well." "Great. There's no time for warming up. So, we'll immediately attach you to experienced nurses. Your task is to listen to your mentors and do what they say. But I'm sure there won't be any problems. After all, you're almost fully qualified nurses." The head's speech, filled with optimism, was interrupted by the appearance of Amelie. She slipped into the slightly open door and gave a spiteful look to Lisa. "Sorry, I'm a little late. I was getting to know the clinic." Mr. Nicholas repeated what he had said to Lisa, but Amelie wasn't paying close attention, and she even tried to flirt with him, but the man didn't pay any attention to the brightly made-up girl. He simply issued a warning. "Girls. We have a completely different atmosphere here. So, I kindly ask you to dress in full accordance with our institution's requirements. Bright makeup is also not welcomed here." Amelie snorted, but didn't say anything. Mr. Nicholas called the head nurse, and within a minute after his call, a well-built woman in her mid-40s walked briskly into the office. "I'm listening, Mr. Nicholas." The head briefly summarized to his assistant what her task was. "Ms. Gina, I kindly ask you to help the girls settle in. Let's hope they'll like it in our clinic. And they'll express the desire to stay with us." The chief nurse smiled warmly. "Let's go, girls. I'll give you a crash course, and then you'll head into action with me." Amelie snorted again, and Ms. Gina looked at her attentively. "Did I say something wrong?" Amelie pushed out her lower lip, signaling her highest degree of displeasure. "I have the impression that we've ended up not in a medical institution, but in a military barracks." The head nurse took the girls by the arms, but before that, she tightly closed the door to the head's office. "Here's the thing, my dear girls. Keep this in mind on your pretty little noses: discipline and subordination are what matters most in any medical institution. That's why our work regime resembles a military one. If someone doesn't like it, it's better to change your profession before it's too late. Do I make myself clear?" Amelie lowered her eyes, but her pouty lips continued to whisper something. Lisa had to answer for both of them. "Perfectly clear, Ms. Gina." "Great. Then follow me, young recruits." 4 hours later, they were already sitting in the car, and the head nurse was outlining the plan for their further actions. "So, my girls. I've assigned you to the departments where I'm temporarily replacing the nurses. The appointments will start in the evening, but before that, we need to visit the bedridden patients. Mostly, they're elderly people who require special care." Amelie blurted out a comment. "And in college, they told us that we should treat all patients the same way." Ms. Gina looked at Amelie with an unfriendly expression again. "You probably didn't listen carefully. Individual approach is practiced in medicine, and a district nurse should also be a bit of a psychologist." Out of habit, Amelie snorted, and the mentor decided to put the insolent trainee in her place. "Girl. Is your health okay?" Amelie became flustered. "I think so. Why do you ask?" "You snort like a mare in the stable. And that's a sign of upper respiratory tract problems. Maybe you have sinusitis? This condition is dangerous for both the patient and those around them. You should check it, just in case." Lisa really wanted to applaud the head nurse with a round of applause, but she just grinned and looked gratefully at Ms. Gina. The woman understood the meaning of that look and smiled too. After that, Amelie didn't utter another word. For over 3 hours, they drove around the city. Ms. Gina told them about each patient they visited. She measured blood pressure for some, administered injections for others. "Remember, girls. Tomorrow you'll go to these addresses on your own. We've almost finished, and we have only one address left. This is the highlight of our program. So, I kindly ask you not to do anything unnecessary, including inappropriate emotions. They pulled up to a charming two-story mansion, the driver honked, and the gates began to slowly open. Seeing the surprised faces of the interns, Ms. Gina explained. Mr. Albert lives in this house. In the past, he was a very important person, a successful businessman and even a bit of a scholar. I don't know all of his titles, but he even has state awards for special contributions. The old man is very cantankerous. You could say he's conflict-prone. He has diabetes and a bunch of other ailments. The door was opened by an elderly woman. Seeing the head nurse, she nodded in a friendly manner. He's getting nervous already. He says you're late. Ms. Gina ignored the woman's remarks. Our old man has a small staff of servants. His son used to live with him, along with his family, but he managed to drive his relatives away and they left. Now he's on his own and takes out his dissatisfaction on anyone who's within reach. Lisa expected to see an almost dying old man, but in the room, behind a table cluttered with books and newspapers, sat an elderly man in a velvet robe. When they entered, he adjusted his glasses with expensive frames. Oh, it's you, Ms. Gina. You're running late today. I already checked my blood sugar myself. Ms. Gina placed an emergency kit on the nightstand. You, Mr. Albert, are a real unique character. Traffic jams everywhere on the roads. We're a little delayed. We'll take care of you now. Fine. I'll forgive you this time. But I hope this won't happen again. The man looked skeptically at the interns. And who are these young ladies? Young trainees. They're learning. That's good. It's good when there's someone to pass on experience to. I also try to make the most of the time allotted to me. The man shifted his gaze to his work desk. At first, I wanted to write memoirs, but then I thought someone would start digging into my biography and changed my mind. I decided to compile all my experience in agriculture into a cohesive whole. Yes, Ms. Gina. Don't be surprised. I've been involved in such matters too. The old man tried to flirt with the head nurse, but he did it awkwardly. Suddenly, he rolled his eyes and began to slump to the floor. Amelie screamed in fear, but Lisa managed to catch the limp body because she was closest to the old man. Ms. Gina shot an unfriendly glance towards Amelie. Girl. It's better for you to leave. We don't need a panicker here. Lisa didn't get distracted by the surroundings. She gently laid the man on the carpet, turned his head to the side, and then checked his pulse. Pulse is thready and weak. Ms. Gina crouched down next to the intern. Sometimes our Mr. Albert has these kinds of attacks, but no matter how much we try to persuade him, he refuses to go to the hospital. The head nurse drew medication into a syringe and administered an injection to the patient. The old man started to breathe more evenly and slowly opened his eyes. Ms. Gina. I don't even want to hear about hospital treatment. I'll die at home. It's too early for you to talk about death. You still have so much energy, any young person would envy it. The women helped the old man up and led him to the couch. Taking advantage of the moment, the man reminded Ms. Gina of his long-standing request. Ms. Gina, you still haven't sent me a good caregiver or you've forgotten about my request? Mr. Albert, how can you say such things? I've sent at least 5 people your way. They're not experienced. One of them drops everything, and the other forgets to wash her hands. And my body is weak, I could catch an infection. And then what? The old man became agitated, and his breathing quickened again. Lisa sat down next to him. You need rest now, or you'll lose consciousness again. Can I get you some water? Well, give me some, if it's not too much trouble. Go to the kitchen, there's boiled water in a pitcher. I don't drink poison from the tap. They've polluted the entire environment, now you can easily get poisoned with regular water. Lisa brought water, and the old man drank it in small sips, looking at her the whole time. After quenching his thirst, he returned the glass and turned to Ms. Gina. A pleasant girl, and she has an inviting appearance. I'd like to have such a caregiver by my side. The head nurse was flustered. Mr. Albert, Lisa is just in her first day of practice. She doesn't even have her diploma yet. Do diplomas really solve anything? Positive energy radiates from this girl. Just looking at her calms me down. Lisa glanced at the head nurse, signaling that she wasn't comfortable with this proposition. Ms. Gina tried to handle the situation. Such matters can't be decided on the spot. Lisa will complete her required hours at the clinic, and then she has more practice in the hospital. All right, we've taken up enough of your time. We might be late for the appointments. The old man bid them farewell and promised. I'll try to resolve this matter myself. Amelie was waiting for them in the car. She remained silent throughout the drive back to the clinic. Only at the very end of the journey, when they were driving onto an overpass, she hissed with the same spitefulness. Lisa. You're doing great. Earning brownie points. Your true colors are showing. Lisa retorted in the same tone. Is jealousy gnawing at you? You'd show what you're capable of, wouldn't you? Amelie mumbled in bewilderment. When that old man collapsed on the floor, I got scared myself and almost fainted. If you panic over events like this, the only suitable place for you to work is the reception desk. Amelie looked at Lisa with interest, and her eyes sparkled with curiosity. Listen, that's not a bad idea. Sit by the window and smile at everyone. Around the office that Ms. Gina had directed them to, a crowd had already formed. But Amelie had been sitting on a couch with an indifferent expression for all 3 hours. No one paid her any attention because everyone was eager to finish the appointments and go home. The doctor sent the intern out almost every 5 minutes either for tests or to bring back the results of someone's EKG. By evening, Lisa's feet were burning. She barely made it to her apartment and collapsed on the couch. Ms. Gloria bent down and pressed her lips to her daughter's forehead. Lisa. You don't look well, but you don't seem to have a fever. The young woman smiled. Mama, I'm fine. I've just covered so many kilometers today that my legs are twitching. Well, lie down and rest. Ms. Gloria covered her daughter with a blanket and went to the kitchen. She called out from there. Grandpa called. He asked how you're doing. I told him everything was fine. Fatigue had taken over her entire body. Lisa didn't even notice when she fell asleep. Images of the day's events flashed before her eyes, but at the center of this mosaic was the old man she had assisted. A thought flickered in her mind. Who does this old man remind me of so much? It was already dark outside when her mother gently woke her up and called her for dinner. She recounted all of today's adventures to her parents, making sure to describe the special patient. The next morning, as soon as Lisa stepped into the clinic, she was called into the head's office. Seeing that the intern was getting anxious, the head nurse patted her shoulder. Don't worry, sweetheart. You excelled yesterday, and word got to the higher-ups. Long story short, go see the head, he'll explain everything to you. With a racing heart, she knocked on the door of the office. Mr. Nicholas welcomed her as if she were an old acquaintance. Please come in, Lisa. Have a seat. Our conversation will be quite lengthy, the man began, tapping a pencil on the desk. I don't have the authority to order you around. I can only ask you for one favor. Lisa tensed up and quietly asked. Did I do something wrong? The head doctor smiled. Why are you so nervous? On the contrary, Ms. Gina spoke very highly of you, and you really impressed one of our patients. Are you talking about the old man we were with yesterday? Yes, him. Quite a cantankerous old fellow. He loves to file complaints against everyone. He's complained about us as well. But there's nothing we can do, our calling is to treat patients regardless of their character traits. Anyway, you made a strong impression on Mr. Albert, and he insisted that we assign you as his caregiver. The young woman was surprised. But that's impossible. I need to complete my hours in the hospital, in the emergency room and other departments. The head doctor put down his pencil. I believe we can arrange this if you agree to a special mission. You see, Lisa, our patient is no ordinary person, he has special merits, and he manipulates with that. It's futile to fight with him. It's better to comply. But what about my internship? I need to report for each day. You don't need to worry about that. We'll take care of the paperwork, and we'll also officially thank you separately. If that's the case, then I agree. Mr. Nicholas was pleased. Thank you, colleague. Then begin your duties from today. Lisa headed towards the door, not fully understanding what had just happened, but the head nurse stopped her. I forgot to tell you the most important thing. The caregiver job is paid. So you'll be able to compensate for some of the expenses associated with this service. Mostly, they're moral expenses. Lisa headed to the familiar address. The same silent housekeeper greeted her. The woman didn't even greet her, she just nodded toward the stairs. He's waiting. She found Mr. Albert in his bedroom. The man was lying in bed, covering his eyes and sighing heavily. As the young woman entered, his sighs seemed to intensify. Lisa approached closer. Hello. I've been asked to take care of you. The old man's voice was lively. Who asked? It was I myself who demanded it, because your professional flair is immediately apparent. Before this, I was sent a bunch of amateurs. Today, I need to check my blood pressure and blood sugar, and then it wouldn't hurt to have a neck massage. I hope you've been trained to give massages? The patient bombarded with questions while Lisa struggled to keep up with answering them. After the standard medical procedures, Mr. Albert wanted to get some fresh air. Lisa, there's a wheelchair down there. Could you kindly bring my transport here? I'm completely drained of energy today. They wandered in the garden for over an hour. However, the elderly man didn't just want to breathe fresh air, he demanded to be taken from one corner of the estate to another. During these moves, he delightedly shared details of his scientific work with the girl. My main education is in agronomy, but I haven't worked in the field for many years. I held responsible positions all the time, and then, when the whole world turned upside down and the ranks of the unemployed swelled with bosses, I decided to venture into business. You could even say I was one of the leaders of this movement. I won't hide it, luck didn't smile immediately. I went bankrupt to the last thread twice. Only then, when it seemed like the light had forever gone out in my window, did I remember my diploma. Lisa, in this garden, you'll find all the results of my work. Of course, I didn't create new varieties of vegetables, flowers, and fruits alone, like-minded people helped me. During the stroll, Lisa learned a lot of interesting things. However, the constant strain took a toll on her well-being, and by the end of the day, she could barely move her legs. Upon returning home, the girl collapsed on the couch again. Ms. Gloria grew worried. Daughter, what kind of patient have you encountered? He's probably an energy vampire. You should drop him, or he'll drain all your strength. But the girl followed her mother's advice. The first week was tough, but she withstood the challenge and even got somewhat used to Mr. Albert's whims. The old man would sometimes pretend to be fatally ill and refuse to walk on his own. Other times, he'd trot around the park. At the end of the week, the patient settled his bill with the young caregiver. As Lisa counted the money in the envelope, she thought to herself, for this kind of compensation, I'm willing to endure for a couple more months. However, the elderly man had an entirely different plan. One day he stated plainly, Lisa, you suit me in every way. I would very much like to have you in my house all the time. The girl wanted to decline such a tempting offer, but the old man beat her to it. Don't rush to say no. I'm not offering you such an alliance for no reason, but for a specific reward. The caregiver managed to interject. Mr. Albert, money doesn't interest me much, and besides, I have a family and a boyfriend whom I plan to marry. Tears welled up in the old man's eyes. Family. Such a small, yet profound word. I had a family a long time ago too. But I was too young, and I had entirely different goals. Lisa, if you don't mind, could you go to my office and bring me the notebook labeled a memoirs? For a while, I even considered myself a genius, but then I realized that I'm just like everyone else. Nothing more than an ordinary, unhappy old man. This lengthy monologue from the patient left the girl with uneasy feelings. She felt like she had heard similar reasoning before, but there was no time to strain her memory, so Lisa went to fulfill the request. In Mr. Albert's workroom, it was dim, as heavy curtains were drawn tightly. As she passed by a bookshelf, she accidentally nudged a delicate construction, causing an old photograph in a vintage frame to fall to the floor. In the semi-darkness, she couldn't make out the image, so she placed the photo randomly on one of the shelves. With some effort, Lisa located a large leather-bound notebook on the desk with memoirs written on it. She thought that Mr. Albert would start reading excerpts from this work to her, but the old man got engrossed in his reading, dismissing her home. "Lisa, you might as well be free. I'll expect you tomorrow morning, as usual." The girl hadn't reached home yet when she remembered where she had seen an identical photograph before. She wasn't completely sure. After all, it was dark in the old man's office. She merely thought there might be a resemblance. She pondered. "I'll find out everything tomorrow. I think I need to discreetly get into the office and reread the memoirs of my special patient." At the doorstep of her apartment, Lisa bumped into her mother. Ms. Gloria was surprised. "You're back early today. Is everything okay with your grandfather? By the way, your real grandfather called and expressed his displeasure, and I support him. Instead of taking care of other people's relatives, you should be looking after your own." Her mother's emotional statement once again stirred up unease. Somewhere in the far corners of her mind, a thought struggled, but the girl couldn't quite grasp it. For several days, Lisa tried to seize a good opportunity to sneak into Mr. Albert's office, but the old man seemed to sense it and gave her various tasks that consumed a lot of time. Only on Saturday did he feel weak again and lie down in bed. The caregiver settled beside him and measured his blood pressure every hour. Noticing her patient had dozed off, the girl tiptoed out of the bedroom and headed to the office. She pulled back the curtains, and when she approached the bookshelf, she was utterly stunned. It was the exact same photograph as her grandfather's. My goodness. How did I not realize right away that Mr. Albert is my grandfather's brother? He must be changed his name. Lisa rushed to the table where the thick notebook with the detailed biography of the old man was still lying in plain sight. But at that moment, footsteps approached from behind, and a familiar voice spoke with disapproval. "Oh, it's not nice to go poking around in other people's things. I had such a high opinion of you." The homeowner stood there, leaning on his cane, examining the caregiver up close. "It seems we'll have to part ways with you. Such a pity." The man turned around, but Lisa exclaimed in desperation. "Mr. Albert, please wait. I'll explain everything to you right now." The old man froze in place. "What did you call me? Alan? How do you know my real name?" He turned back again and slowly approached the girl. "Blast it. Why didn't I realize sooner? Have you already gone through my memoirs?" No. I haven't even touched your notebook. I was just looking at that photograph there because..." The old man's face became stone cold from tension, he was agitated, and Lisa feared that he might have another episode. He forcefully tapped the floor with his cane. "Why did you stay silent? Explain yourself. I'm giving you one last chance to justify your ugly action." Lisa walked up to the old man herself and, looking him directly in the eyes, said slowly, "Mr. Albert. I'm the granddaughter of your brother, Tim. You haven't forgotten that you have a brother, have you?" The caregiver expected anything but this reaction. The old man was beside himself with outrage. "Did he deliberately send you to me? I don't want to hear anything about him. He ruined my life. Took my fiancé away from me. Thanks to my little brother, I'm now living a miserable existence, and nobody cares about me at all." This outburst of emotions drained the old man of his last strength. He collapsed into a chair and burst into tears. Lisa didn't know what to do. She was afraid to approach the man and provoke even greater irritation. But Mr. Albert himself commanded her. "Why are you standing there with your eyes wide open? Can't you see I'm not feeling well? Get some calming drops and bring some water to wash them down." The girl rushed to follow the command, while one thought pounded in her head. What should I do next? The old man took the medicine and closed his eyes. Lisa stood nearby, afraid to move. "Well, why are you just standing there like a statue? Do you think I believed your stories? Confess. You're a swindler, deliberately trying to gain my trust to inherit my property. I know your type. But you won't fool me." Such accusations rattled the girl. "What the hell do I need your wealth for? I already regret meeting you. As if dealing with my grandpa's tricks isn't enough, now you've fallen into my lap too. That's it. I'm done. Find yourself another caregiver." Having vented all her frustrations to the old man's face, Lisa felt relieved. She stormed out of the office, but the homeowner's voice trailed behind her. "Lisa, wait. Why did you get offended so quickly? I didn't say anything bad to you." "Well, stop." The old man caught up with her at the stairs. What was even more astonishing was that he moved briskly, without using his cane. "I had no idea you had such character. Our breed shows itself. So, you say Tim is alive?" "He's alive. He told me everything, why you quarreled and why you can't forgive each other. He even mentioned Andrea." The old man waved his hands vigorously. "All of that is in the past, gone and forgotten. It's all just sentimentality. Tell me instead, where is he these days?" "He lives in a village outside of town." "And Martha?" "Grandma passed away long ago, and Grandpa is all alone and just as cantankerous as you. Now I believe that character is passed down through genetics. Let's save the high theories for later. I'm quite knowledgeable about genetics myself. What concerns me now is this," the man paused and asked in a bewildered tone. "What do you think? Should I meet up with Tim?" "Well, that's for you to decide." "All right, I'll think about it. And you call Tim today." Lisa was extremely tired after all the upheavals of this unusual day. She could barely articulate, mumbling something incoherent as she hurried towards the exit of the house, but the old man shouted from above. "Lisa. You won't leave me after all that has come to light, will you? You'll come back tomorrow, won't you? I'll increase your salary from next week." Tripping over her own feet, the girl managed to reach the bus stop. She scolded herself mentally. Why did I get involved in this story? Now the grandpas will drain me of all my energy. First one, now two. Her parents had already had dinner, and Lisa walked into the kitchen with wobbly legs. Ms. Gloria placed a plate of vermicelli with a cutlet in front of her. "Eat, dear." Lisa listlessly poked at her food with a fork, while her mother watched her closely. "What's wrong again? You can't take everything to heart, you'll burn out too quickly. If that troublesome old man is bothering you again, just drop him." "Mom. He's not just a patient. He's the missing brother of our grandpa." Ms. Gloria's mouth fell open in astonishment. "Alan? That's him. Can you imagine? Living practically near each other and not seeing each other for half a century. I thought such stories only happened in movies and novels. Dear, what do we do now? I'm racking my brain over that too. First, I need to tell Grandpa everything, and then we'll decide. Let's consult with your father. His mind is clearer than ours." After a family discussion, all three agreed that it would be better to arrange a meeting with the consent of both parties. Lisa insisted on this, fearing that two elderly people might not withstand the shock of meeting each other without preparation. But she couldn't anticipate what would happen next. On the agreed-upon day, Mr. Steve set off in the morning to the village to fetch his father-in-law. However, it turned out that Mr. Tim wasn't ready yet. His son-in-law patiently waited for him to get himself together, but the old man initiated a questioning with intensity. Steve. Why didn't Lisa show up herself? She's at work. You told me Lisa is registered as a caregiver at Allen's. Well, yes. That's her job. I mean, it's her internship. So, my granddaughter, whom I've dedicated so much to, is courting that renegade. Mr. Steve understood that the event called a meeting of the brothers was about to fall apart, so he decided to scold his father-in-law. Mr. Tim. You asked to go visit your brother yourself, and now you're hesitating. I think it's time to say goodbye to past disputes and grievances. Half a century has passed. This reprimand had an effect on the old man, and he begrudgingly came out to the living room. Look, Steve. How do I look in this suit? My brother has turned into an oligarch. He'll laugh at a simple tractor driver like me. Anticipating a new wave of displeasure, the man shouted. Oh, my goodness. This song is good, start from the beginning. Finally, the car left the driveway, and Mr. Tim sat frozen on the back seat. In just over an hour, Mr. Steve arrived with his relative on board. They reached the other end of the city, where Lisa and her patient were eagerly waiting. All participants of the meeting were nervous, and it was quite noticeable. Mr. Tim got out of the car and looked around at first. Yes, my little brother's done well for himself. Not like us, cramped up in a 30-square-meter apartment. Both the guest and the elder brother observed each other closely. With Lisa's help, they ascended to the main entrance porch, and for the occasion, the older brother even refused to use his cane. Lisa. Remove this. I don't want Tim to think I'm completely helpless. Silently, the girl took the prop and helped her charge descend the steps. Mr. Albert couldn't resist making a sarcastic comment. Quite an honor for him, really. Well, fine. I'll bear it. I just don't know why I need all of this. Mr. Steve and Lisa watched as the elderly men approached each other. With every step, the distance between them diminished, and it seemed that they would embrace any moment and end this era of fraternal hostility. But the old men stopped, unable to take that final step. The younger brother spoke coldly. Didn't expect to see you alive. Thought you were long gone. But Mr. Albert also didn't hold back his words. Likewise, brother. I also didn't expect to find you in this world. But nonetheless, I'm glad. To be honest, I'm not very glad. I've long come to terms with having no one left. Lisa understood that everything was about to collapse. She gathered all her courage. Grandpas? Please, don't argue right now. It's such an unusual day today. You haven't seen each other for so many years. Mr. Tim didn't let his granddaughter finish. Lisa, who are you trying to fool? Have you replaced me with this scoundrel? Don't you understand that he wants to get revenge on me through you after half a century? Am I right, Alan? The patient, under the care of Lisa, didn't understand what he was being accused of by the guest. Tim, what are you talking about? That's right, brother. What are you planning, using your newfound wealth to win my only granddaughter over to your side, to take revenge for Martha? Tim, have you gone mad? Looks like a venomous bee stung you this morning. I was waiting for you as a person, as a brother. And here you are throwing insults at my doorstep. Leave. I don't want to see you. Yes, I can't stand looking at your cold face either. Look at you, pretending to be sick. While you're hopping up the steps like a stallion. Mr. Tim turned around and waved his hand at his son-in-law. Steve, let's all go home. The grand ceremony is over. Lisa rushed after her grandfather. Grandpa, what are you doing? You asked for this meeting yourself. The offended old man turned around. And you, Lisa, you can stop coming to see me. Now you have a wealthy grandpa. You even take care of him, and you've forgotten the way to my house. Mr. Tim settled into the car and slammed the door loudly. His elder brother stood in the same spot, shouting desperately. Well, roll on. Haven't seen each other in 50 years, and we won't see each other for another 50. Lisa. help me get into the house. I'm feeling unwell." The girl couldn't hold back her emotions. "You know what? I'm not working for you anymore. The only thing I can do for you now is call for an ambulance." Lisa hurried past the old man into the house and grabbed her purse. She was crying. "I wanted you to reconcile. And you behave like two old geese." Mr. Albert stood there, blinking in surprise. "No one has ever called me a goose in my life." The car with the guests had long disappeared from view. In the distance, the figure of the girl, who had managed to change the life of the lonely old man in just a few weeks, melted away. Mr. Albert still hoped she would return, but the caretaker didn't appear. Only late in the evening, he hobbled into the house, and at the entrance, he noticed his cane left behind by Lisa. The old man picked up the innocent object and forcefully brought it down on his knee. A loud crack echoed in the evening silence, and the old man yelled, his gaze fixed on it. "I've ruined everything like an old donkey. I've been dreaming for so many years of reconciling with my brother." Seeing the expressions on her daughter's and husband's faces, Ms. Gloria realized that the meeting had failed. "I knew from the start that it was a foolish idea. My mother, when she was alive, told me all the details about the conflict that happened because of her. I know my father too well to believe in a fairy tale reconciliation." Lisa silently sipped her tea, but after her mother's words, she confidently said, "Mom, I'm still going to try to mediate between them. I don't know how to do it yet, but I'll come up with something." Ms. Gloria sighed. "Oh, I don't know, dear. So many years have passed. They're practically strangers to each other. On the other hand, as people age, there's a desire to be closer to their roots. They are what they are to each other. Sometimes I think bad character is in their genes, or maybe they're just afraid of being kind." Mr. Steve intervened. "You women always find explanations for everything. Just think about what they were like in their youth. And we only know what your father, Gloria, told us. But no one has heard Alan's version. It's entirely possible that he has a completely different perspective, and by putting the pieces together, we might finally understand who's right and who's to blame." Gloria looked thoughtfully at her husband. "Steve, do you think that after so many years, it even matters?" He waved his hand. "Honestly, I'm not even sure anymore. But I understand that our daughter has inherited some stubborn traits from your family, and she won't back down. So we have to start somewhere." Lisa pushed her cup away. "Mom, Dad's right, and you're right when you say that if something is unclear, we should turn to Dad for help." Steve gratefully looked at his wife and smiled. "Daughter, count on me. If I can help in any way, I will." Lisa decided to give Mr. Albert and her grandfather a few days to let their emotions settle. First on her list was Albert. She resolved that she would come up with what to say to him, how to get him to open up. Ms. Gina greeted her at the doorstep. "Lisa, what happened?" "What do you mean?" "Well, you should be with Mr. Albert." Lisa smiled. "Has he called and complained already?" "Well, no. But I'm just surprised to see you here." "Ms. Gina, I won't be going to him anymore." "You don't need to convince me." "But, Lisa." The girl almost interrupted her. "I'm sure he won't ask for a caretaker anymore. If anything, Grandpa is still very much alive, and believe me, he runs faster than I do." Ms. Gina exclaimed. "What has happened with you? Lord, all these troubles on my head." Before Lisa could reply, she heard a voice. "Mom? What's happened again? You're audible in the next ward. I can't believe that Lisa, a smart and kind girl, has upset you so much." Lisa turned around sharply and froze. Brandon was approaching her with a smile. Ms. Gina quickly turned and then rushed toward her son. "I've told you so many times at work to address me by my patronymic." Brandon smiled even wider. "I apologize, Ms. Gina. May I inquire about what upset you so much about Lisa?" The woman looked at Lisa in surprise. "Do you two know each other?" Could you be the lovely Lisa I've heard so much about? Lisa blushed instantly and shrugged. Ms. Gina commanded. Follow me, youngsters. They entered some office, and the nurse closed the door behind her. Brandon. Maybe Lisa will listen to you and go back to Mr. Albert? Who's Mr. Albert? It's a long story. A very elderly and very capricious patient. Brandon turned to Lisa. Lisa. Why are you upsetting the patients? Lisa couldn't help but laugh. Brandon's tone was quite amusing. She took a deep breath. I can't go back to him because we had a fight. But it wasn't a fight between a caregiver and a patient, it was between a granddaughter and a grandfather. You see, Mr. Albert turns out to be my grandpa. Well, technically, a distant cousin. Ms. Gina shook her head. I don't understand anything. What granddaughter? Oh, it's a long story. My grandpa and Alan, that is, Mr. Albert, got into a feud when they were young. Now they're both elderly, and they miss each other, but they're so stubborn that even at the reunion we organized for them, they manage to argue immediately, insult each other, and part ways as enemies again. But I believe they need to make amends. They don't have much time left in this world. And their bad temper, you see, it's a result of their fight. If you could have seen them together, like two rams locking horns and not budging. Brandon chuckled. That's quite a story. How long have they not communicated? Over 50 years. Ms. Gina waved her hand. Doesn't this remind you of something? I'm sure that a woman is involved in their case. Like in ours, it's always a woman. Anyway, Lisa, I'll rearrange the schedule now. Let's hope your patient won't raise the whole town in alarm. And if he does, we'll defend ourselves. Lisa changed her clothes and left. She already noticed Amelie sitting at the reception with an important expression, ignoring the requests of the patients. She was gazing intently at the landscape outside the window. Lisa didn't disrupt the workflow since she had her own tasks to attend to, but they had to cross paths again, in the most unexpected way. They bumped into each other in the doorway while leaving work. But the most interesting part was yet to come. Outside, Max and Brandon were waiting. Amelie approached Max and threw a scorching glance at Brandon, but he simply turned away and smiled at Lisa. So, are you ready? Let's go. He put his arm around her shoulders and led her away from the hospital entrance. Lisa walked at first, then indignantly removed his hand. If you're showing off for Amelie and Max. Brandon's expression held so much surprise that Lisa immediately felt embarrassed. I'm sorry, Brandon. I don't know what I was thinking. He let out a sigh. All right, enough of that. You know, I've come up with an idea on how to reconcile your grandfathers. If you have the time, let's go to the park and I'll tell you about it. Lisa checked the time. My mom will worry. Lisa didn't want to disappoint her mom or dad right now. The recent events somehow brought them closer. She looked at Brandon. Listen. What if we go to my place? We can talk there. Brandon looked at her in surprise. And how will you introduce me? Lisa smiled. She wasn't entirely sure if she was doing the right thing. She didn't know how her mom would react to all of this, but she had no other option. I'll introduce you as a friend, a colleague. Mr. Steve paced back and forth. I don't know. It seems like a completely absurd idea. And what if it doesn't work out? Do you realize that it'll be the end of everything? Lisa nodded. What's the end in our case? Going back to the state it was before. In other words, they just won't remember each other at all. Mr. Steve pushed his glasses up his forehead and looked at his daughter. So, if I understand correctly, you're already agreeing to this? Dad, not yet, but Brandon is right. A strong feud like theirs won't be resolved with traditional methods. We need some kind of emotional shock. Ms. Gloria poured tea for Brandon. Sweetie. But they're really old. What if their hearts can't take it? Mom, we need to arrange for someone to tell them that I got hit by a car. Someone who can watch over them and give them an injection. But I think our grandfathers are much stronger than they think. Mr. Steve sighed. Well, let's give it a try, I guess. Brandon, you're saying you can arrange the room for the presentation? Brandon nodded contentedly. Yes, my mom will help. Gloria added. Just be careful we don't end up being enemies with our grandfathers afterwards. They might find out that it's all a lie. They won't forgive us. Lisa replied. And we won't admit that we lied. We'll just say your body is strong and you recovered, or that they sent you home for treatment. Brandon raised his hand. By the way, the second option is a sure win. The elderly folks will have the opportunity to mock the medical system together and take care of you. We just need to plan everything out and calculate it. The plan to stage an accident for Lisa was set for 3 days later. Lisa was supposed to visit both grandfathers before that, to, so to speak, build bridges. Mr. Tim greeted his granddaughter with a guilty look. Forgive us, old fools. Looks like we'll live out our lives separately. But don't be angry with us. Come visit more often. Lisa hugged her grandpa, telling him she'd never abandon him. Mr. Tim even shed a tear. She was leaving, but her heart felt uneasy. It all felt a bit strange. Maybe her mom was right, and they had started this for no reason. After all, these were elderly people. But after some contemplation, she decided not to abandon the plan. They were all convinced that the grandfathers would make up at her hospital bedside, where Lisa would end up after the accident that would not actually happen. The next day, she was supposed to visit Mr. Albert. Lisa had been working and had thought about what she would talk to him about. Lisa. She was surprised to see Max approaching her. Max? Lisa. I'm here for you. I want to invite you to the movies tonight. The girl looked at him in surprise. Well, what about Amelie? What about Amelie? She's as dense as a cork. I'm sorry, Max, but I can't. Lisa turned away, considering the matter settled, and immediately met a furious glare from Amelie, who stood behind the door and obviously overheard everything. Max wasn't backing down either. Come on. If not today, then how about tomorrow? Lisa turned to him. Max was smiling. Max. Answer me one question. Are you trying to annoy Amelie or Brandon? The kind, naive eyes that were on Max a few minutes ago narrowed. Aren't you a bit too clever for a regular practicing nurse? But I'll answer. I thought I'd hit 2 birds with 1 stone. Max turned around and headed for the exit, while Lisa looked in the direction where Amelie had been standing just moments ago. She really hoped that Amelie heard everything, but she was no longer there. Brandon was sitting with Lisa's parents. I don't understand what's taking her so long. It's getting dark soon. How is she planning to get home? Mr. Steve was looking at Brandon and smiling. He really liked the guy. It was evident that Ms. Gloria found him likable as well. Maybe we should call her after all? Gloria took out her phone. I'll call her. I am her mother after all. It won't raise any suspicions. Gloria dialed the number and listened for a while. I don't understand anything. She's not picking up. Brandon suggested. Maybe her phone is in her bag and she's somewhere in the rooms? You know what? I'll go to her. She's probably forgotten that it's time to put the plan into action. Mr. Steve started to worry. You're probably right. Call her right away. All right. Brandon arrived at Mr. Albert's house. Strangely, it was quiet, and even the gate was closed. He parked his car and approached the gate. He stood there for a while before calling Lisa, but her phone was now turned off. Brandon decisively pressed the doorbell. The gate opened, revealing an elderly woman. I'm listening. Hello? Can I call for Lisa? Lisa? But Lisa hasn't been here for several days. Brandon felt a chill run down his spine. That can't be. She was on her way to your place around 5 hours ago. The woman shrugged. If you don't believe me, ask Mr. Albert. She headed towards the house, and Brandon followed. He really hoped that this lady simply hadn't seen Lisa's arrival. Although it seemed highly unlikely. Mr. Albert was sitting at the table. Who else is it? He gave a displeased look to the housekeeper, then to Brandon, and the young man began to speak. The thing is, Lisa was supposed to come to you after work today. But as far as I understand, she didn't make it to your place. Her phone is switched off. Damn, what's happening? The old man's eyebrows shot up. Were you at work? Brandon slapped his forehead. No. I'll call my mom now. He quickly pulled out his phone, had a conversation about something, and turned back to Mr. Albert in a bewildered manner. Mom says she left on time and was in a hurry. She said she was going to her grandfather's. The old man sat down. Well, Lisa isn't the kind of girl who just disappears without a warning. That's for sure. All right, sorry. I'll go to her parents. Mr. Albert stood up. I'm not arguing with you on that. Brandon certainly didn't intend to argue. Although he really wanted to say a few kind words to this old man. It's because of them and his brother that something is happening. If only he could understand what? Ms. Gloria looked at Brandon in surprise, then at Mr. Albert, and peeked out into the courtyard. Where's Lisa? Brandon silently looked at her, unsure of how to say it. Ms. Gloria. Please don't worry. I'm sure there's an explanation for everything. For instance, maybe Lisa's phone just died, and she had to urgently go somewhere. The woman slowly sat down on the couch. Lisa is very responsible about everything. Her phone can't just die. If she's going somewhere, she always lets someone know. You. So, I assume she wasn't with you today? Gloria looked at Mr. Albert. No, she wasn't. I was planning to go to her myself to apologize. The girl tried so hard, and we are just two old fools. Gloria covered her head with her hands. She's been missing for over 5 hours now. We need to go to the police. For the first time, Mr. Steve spoke up. Nobody at the police station will take a report immediately. We have to wait until 3 days pass. Gloria sobbed. Steve. 3 days. What are you saying? The man stood up resolutely. All right, Brandon and I will go to the hospital now, ask around there. Maybe Lisa said something or someone saw her leaving. Mr. Albert stood up. Count me in. Now Ms. Gloria was outraged. And you, dear old man, will stay here and wait. We don't need something to happen to you as well. Started fussing with cars. Grown adults, yet because of you, Lisa might be. Mr. Albert silently sat back down. You're right, Gloria. You're right. Give me my brother's number. I won't. As if it's not enough trouble with him. At that moment, the phone rang. Gloria wiped her tears, grabbed the phone. Oh my God. You're calling at an inopportune time. Yes, Dad. Why aren't you sleeping? It's so late. Gloria, don't shout at your father. Don't you want to talk to an old, useless man? Get my granddaughter. I want to talk to her. I'll speak with her. Gloria wanted to say something in response but couldn't. She burst into tears. Gloria. What happened? Speak quickly. I've been wondering why I couldn't sleep at all. Gloria. Mr. Albert took the phone from Ms. Gloria's hand. Hello, Tim. And what are you doing there? Got the urge to take my family for yourself? Shut up, Tim, and listen. Lisa's gone missing. There was silence on the line. Impatiently. Mr. Albert said. Have you gone deaf there? How did she go missing? Tim's voice sounded muffled. Just gone missing. While she was thinking about how to reconcile us. While she was running between you and me, she disappeared. Where is my son-in-law? Where? We know where. They're searching for him. That guy Brandon is searching with him. I'll be there soon. How are you going to get there, old fool? Or did you buy a car? And that's not your concern, and don't forget, you're older. So, even more foolish. Short beeps sounded in the receiver. Gloria looked at Mr. Albert. Well, what's the news? He said he'll come soon. Where will he come? How will he get here? The old man shrugged. Meanwhile, Mr. Tim dialed a taxi number. He had found it in an advertisement in the newspaper. After speaking with the dispatcher and explaining his address, he began packing a bag. He needed to include everything necessary: a thermos, a flashlight, warmer clothes. He put in basically everything that he thought might be useful. Ms. Gina, Brandon, and Mr. Steve questioned everyone. They realized they wouldn't learn anything new. They were about to start searching the route Lisa was supposed to take when a paramedic remembered something. I don't know if this information will be useful to you, but a guy came by today. The second intern was always with him. So, he seemed to be bothering Lisa, and the second intern overheard. She hid behind the door over there. She didn't see me, but I was just filling up the hot water dispenser for tea. Brandon immediately pulled out his phone. He dialed a number. Then he dialed again, until someone answered. Max. You jerk. Where are you? Have you lost your mind completely? What the hell are you calling me for at this hour? And shouting, too. Brandon tried not to shout, but he wasn't doing a good job. I won't just shout. I'll beat you up. Do you understand me? Where's Lisa? Either you answer right away, or I'll find you right now. Max laughed. Brandon, have you been drinking there? How should I know where your Lisa is? Max, I'm not in the mood for jokes. I don't understand. Are you serious? Did something happen? Brandon understood that his brother, as bad as he might be, would never dare to do anything bad that would require him to take responsibility. So, he asked wearily. Max. When did you last see her? During the day. I tried inviting her somewhere. I confess. I've had thoughts of taking her away from you, but she didn't even want to listen. I'm so tired of Amelie. I've never seen anyone dumber than her. So, I tried inviting Lisa. I haven't seen her since. I left right away. And Amelie? Is she with you? Can I talk to her? I'm afraid that won't be possible. She called around 4. I told her it was over between us. She screamed so loudly. Brandon. Where are you? Do you need any help? No, we'll handle it ourselves. He hung up and looked at Mr. Steve. We need to find Amelie too. But we also need to check the route. Should we split up? I don't even know. Maybe we should check the route first. Okay, let's do that. They left the hospital and paused. 2 grandfathers were waiting for them outside, with Gloria standing behind them. She looked questioningly at Steve, but he shook his head negatively. The woman turned away immediately, wiping her tears. What are you doing here? Mr. Tim looked sternly at his son-in-law. Were you inspecting the road? No, we haven't had the chance. We'll do that now. You should have done that first. The grandfathers took flashlights in their hands. Mr. Tim handed his backpack to Brandon, and they headed away from the hospital. Lisa grew tired of pounding on the door and slumped down on the floor. It was damp, somehow sticky, cold, but she didn't care anymore. She even suspected there might be rats around, but she was no longer scared. The fear had only lasted the first hour or 2. When she was hurrying to Mr. Albert's place, Amelie had appeared in her way. Lisa. We need to talk. Another time, Amelie. Is it too much for you? Let's step aside, there's a bench behind the bushes. It's not just about talking. I need advice. Lisa took a deep breath. It was the first time she saw Amelie speak normally. If it's about Max. No, Lisa. The conversation has nothing to do with him. All right, but only briefly. I'm in a hurry. Of course. They moved behind the bushes. Lisa didn't see any bench, only a partially ruined house. Apparently, the tenants had been evacuated for demolition, and it looked eerie. Where's the bench? Just a little further ahead. Amelie walked behind on the narrow path. As soon as they reached the basement entrance, Amelie forcefully pushed Lisa from behind, and she tumbled down literally. While Lisa was still dazed, the girl pushed her into the basement and closed the door. When Lisa heard the sound of Amelie locking the door, she screamed. Amelie! What are you doing? Are you out of your mind? It's you who's out of your mind. Why the hell do you keep getting in my way? Sit there now. Until you drop dead. Amelie, you'll get into trouble. Let me out. No one will find you, ever. Got it? Lisa began to search her pockets, but her bag and phone were apparently left outside the door. Amelie. Amelie. Open up. They'll find me anyway. Lisa heard some rustling, then listened carefully again and realized that Amelie was blocking the entrance with branches or other debris. The girl inside the basement began to desperately pound on the door. Amelie. I'm begging you. But there was silence outside. Lisa pounded the door with her hands, then with her feet. She screamed until her voice disappeared, then she kicked the door again with her feet, realizing in horror that no one ever passed by this structure. Now and then, the police chased some drunks or homeless people around here. If they were to hear her. Uncertain. Would that be better? Inside the basement, it was pitch dark. On one side of the door, there was a tiny slit. It emitted a faint glow, which eventually disappeared. Lisa realized it had become dark outside. She sat on the floor and occasionally knocked on the door with her shoe. What's here? Nothing, just a wasteland. What kind of wasteland? There's a house visible over there. Mr. Tim directed the flashlight toward the houses. Oh, that's not a house. No one lives there anymore. Mr. Steve shivered. No, she can't be there. Ms. Gloria burst into tears. Tim turned to her. Hey, hush. Why are you crying? Tell me, why are you crying? Mr. Albert supported his brother for the first time. Yes, no need for tears. There's no reason to cry. Nothing has happened, and nothing will happen. Brandon walked ahead while the elderly men illuminated the path. Brandon thought to himself. So, this is the old guard. They have flashlights and something useful in their backpacks for sure. They circled the house. Brandon said. Nothing. No traces, and even the basement is filled with debris. Mr. Albert approached the basement opening, stared in for a while, then beckoned Tim. They exchanged a few words, and Tim gave a command. Start clearing. Mr. Steve responded, of course, we can clear it. But you can see it's empty here. We'll just waste time. Empty, you say? Look at the crushed grass. It means they recently brought trash here. The grass hasn't recovered yet, it takes about a day for the grass to stand up again. Do you understand? Brandon had already begun clearing the debris. Mr. Steve joined him. When about half of it was cleared, Tim raised his hand. Oh, hush. Everyone, freeze. They heard faint pounding from below. Lisa. Brandon worked with renewed energy. Gloria looked down in horror. A lock. There's a sturdy lock here. Mr. Tim told Mr. Albert. Shine the light. He took a knife and something else from his backpack, fiddled for a bit, and the lock clicked open. Brandon yanked the door towards himself, and Lisa fell at their feet. As soon as she heard the sounds, she had been standing, pressed against the door, whispering, help. Gloria rushed down. Lisa. My dear Lisa. Are you all right? They returned home only at dawn. Dad, Uncle Alan. I'll make the bed for you in the room. Tim looked at his daughter, then at Alan. My brother and I will go to him. If he doesn't mind. He seems to have more space. Yes, and we need to talk about everything. Mr. Allen nodded in agreement. Yes. Mr. Steve stood up. I'll drive you there. Gloria escorted the men and then went to pack a bag. They left Lisa at the hospital. They needed to take her belongings and then visit the police station. Lisa squinted at the sun. She had spent a day at the hospital. They had taken various tests, given her pills, and Lisa practically slept through the day. Now her mother called. She said they were waiting for her downstairs. The doctor handed her a medical certificate and advised her to be more careful in the future. She descended the stairs and thought that living was actually so wonderful that it couldn't be put into words. And if she managed to get rid of the elderly men as well, that would be great. Lisa knew that they had taken Amelie to the police station and that even Max had gone there. He probably realized that Amelie had done all of this for him. But she didn't want to think about Amelie. She didn't want to forgive or be angry, she just didn't want to think about her at all. She had only a few steps left when Brandon came rushing towards her. Lisa immediately blushed. She remembered how he had touched her cheek, her hand, when they found her. Back then, she didn't care, but now she thought that everyone had probably seen that. Although back then, she had lost consciousness almost immediately, as the doctor had said, from shock. As it turned out, the shock of being found was stronger than the shock of being hidden in the basement. Lisa. How are you? He extended his hand, and Lisa leaned on it. I'm fine. Thank you. Me? I didn't do anything. It's all thanks to the grandpas. Grandpas? Why was he talking about them as if they were a single entity? Lisa followed his gaze and saw the grandpas. They were standing to the side, chatting peacefully. Lisa even rubbed her eyes. No, really, they're standing there, talking. They're even laughing. Brandon. Did they make up? Exactly. They made up. And it's all thanks to you. Lisa found herself in her mother's embrace, then her father's, and then the grandpa's. She was smiling. She couldn't believe that these two elderly people were truly talking, smiling, and no one wanted to hurt anyone. Back at home, around the set table, when Brandon and Lisa recounted how they had planned it all, as if Lisa had been in an accident. Tim looked at Alan and stood up. Mr. Allen stood up as well, behind him. We want to apologize to you, Lisa. If it weren't for you, we would have lost each other. Come on, grandpas. Everything turned out well in the end. Lisa hugged them, then gestured to Brandon that they should go out onto the balcony. Her expression was so mysterious that Brandon immediately grew concerned. Oh, this doesn't seem good. You know, I've got a brilliant idea for reconciling Grandpa Allen with his son. Brandon realized that his concerns had been justified. Lisa's eyes were sparkling, she was ready to dive back into the fray. He grabbed her hand and practically dragged her into the room. Hold on a moment. Our Lisa, who nearly died yesterday, is proposing a new adventure, reconciling Mr. Albert with his son. I believe we should do something about it. Mr. Albert stood up, smiling. I called the kids yesterday. They'll be coming by this evening. Lisa clapped her hands, but Brandon raised his hand again. That's not all. After observing Lisa, I've realized that she needs constant supervision. So? Everyone froze. He turned to the girl, who was looking at him with wide eyes. So, I'm asking for your hand, Lisa. It will be much easier for me, as her husband, to keep her away from all sorts of detective stories. Ms. Gloria burst into tears immediately, the old men chuckled approvingly. Brandon instantly won them over. And Mr. Steve hugged his wife. Come on, don't cry. No need to cry. Brandon will take good care of our daughter. Brandon looked at Lisa attentively. So, what do you say? Lisa leaned towards him. Well, what can I say? Together, we can achieve so much more. Brandon pulled her close and twirled her around, and everyone present laughed at the girl's words.